Hi guys, welcome to the Leading Edge, published every Sunday. It's a look back at what happened last week and a look forward to the week ahead. We tells you all you need to know to get the edge in the market and be prepared, either a swing trader or day trader.
Right now, the underlying plumbing of the global market is aggressively processing two massive conflicting streams of macroeconomic data. As we look ahead to the trading playbook for the week of June 22nd, 2026, we have to isolate exactly what these conflicting streams are doing to the tape. What we're seeing on the board is a severe cross-asset paradox. Major asset classes across the globe are stretching into extreme contradictory directions simultaneously. Look at this directional bias breakdown. On the bullish side, European and Japanese equities are moving higher alongside a dominant US dollar. But in the bearish column, the Japanese yen and British pound face heavy downward pressure, while WTI crude is tightly capped. Even the traditional safe havens are behaving strangely. Instead of catching a risk-off bid in a divided market, spot gold and silver are actually sliding. The consistency of this pattern across equities, currency, and crude implies that a specific macro engine is now driving global price action, one that follows its own distinct, trackable rules. This market architecture is the output of two opposing shifts colliding in real time. The first force is geopolitical, a sudden Middle East de-escalation reducing war risk premiums. The opposing force is strictly monetary, a hawkish shock from the Fed holding rates higher to counter sticky inflation. The balance between this geopolitical relief and monetary tightening hinges entirely on a single piece of data, Thursday's core inflation print. Thursday's data release represents a massive liquidity event. Navigating it successfully requires a framework that can calculate the exact tension between these two shifts. Let's break down the geopolitical force first. In mid-June, a US-Iran framework was signed, leading directly to the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz for commercial shipping. The immediate mechanical reaction to this truce was the rapid evaporation of the war risk premium that had been heavily priced into global energy markets. We can see the severity of that unwind in the commodities data here. WTI crude took a sharp hit, collapsing 8 to 10% down to the $76 to $78 range. That specific plunge in energy costs physically dictates the winners and losers in global equities right now, splitting indices strictly based on their national reliance on imported oil. On the global equities matrix, Japan and Europe are oil importers, experiencing this crude collapse as a massive margin tailwind. Conversely, the UK FTSE 100 is stacked with energy constituents. For them, falling crude is a severe revenue drag, pulling the index lower. There is also a secondary tailwind playing out in the US tech sector. Once the initial macro shock of the war risk faded away, AI and semiconductor megacaps caught a sharp rebound. Under this de-escalation regime, a nation's baseline energy dependency acts as the primary mathematical input determining how its domestic equity index performs. Now we factor in the opposing force, a severe monetary shock driven by the installation of Kevin Warsh as Federal Reserve Chair. The catalyst arrived at his first meeting on June 17th. The FOMC released a statement that triggered an aggressive and entirely unexpected flip in the Fed's dot plot projections. To counter persistently sticky inflation, 9 out of 19 Fed officials are now formally penciling in at least one rate hike for 2026. The fixed income markets reacted instantly to that tightening bias. U.S. 10-year yields surged to 4.46%, while the 30-year spiked to nearly 4.90%. When interest rates rise faster than inflation, it drives up real yields, the actual return an investor gets after inflation is stripped out. High real yields act as a massive gravitational pull on global commodities. We can see this gravity crushing the precious metals market right now. Because they don't pay a dividend or a coupon, spot gold and silver are suffering their third consecutive weekly decline against a stronger dollar. By structurally raising the global cost of capital, the Warsh Fed is actively punishing any capital parked in non-yielding defensive assets. But absolute U.S. policy is only half the equation. Fiat currencies trade entirely on differentials, the gap between what one central bank is doing versus another. This matrix maps the global policy landscape, exposing the Federal Reserve's hawkish hold as an extreme outlier. The Fed projects hikes, standing in direct contrast to the Bank of England's dovish hold and the Bank of Canada's strictly neutral stance. This widening policy gap creates an irresistible yield magnet. It rapidly pulls global capital out of foreign markets and straight back into the US financial system to capture those higher returns. This creates a dollar wrecking ball, pushing the DXY index to a one-year high. Overseas damage is severe. The Japanese yen plunged to multi-decade lows near 160.6, sparking intervention warnings from their Ministry of Finance. The British pound is also heavily underperforming, dragged down directly by its own central bank's dovish mood and a trimmed inflation forecast. Until foreign central banks can mathematically match the Warsh Fed's terminal rate projections, this structural dollar strength is effectively locked in. This leaves the current macro architecture extremely fragile, caught perfectly in the tension between geopolitical relief and monetary gravity. Looking at the catalyst timeline for the week, we can see exactly where that tension breaks. Thursday at 13:30 British summertime is the definitive epicenter of risk. This chart illustrates why. The U.S. core PCE inflation print dropping on Thursday is the singular fulcrum that will decide which of our two tectonic forces wins out. A cooler reading gives the market a green light. It validates the U.S.-Iran truce rally, proving the Fed has room to breathe, and sustains upward momentum for risk-on assets, tech, and Eurozone equities. But a hot PCE print coming in above the 3.4% consensus triggers the red light. It fully reinforces the Fed's higher-for-longer threat. The mechanics of a hot print would be devastating: a massive acceleration of the already strong U.S. dollar, violently crushed bond prices, and an immediate heavy headwind for stretched U.S. equity valuations. Thursday's release functions as a binary regime test. A hot print has the potential to trigger a massive, immediate cross-asset liquidation event. To survive this PCE epicenter without being stopped out, we refer to the tactical execution playbook for the week. For swing traders mapping macro positioning, the primary rule is to strictly favor oil-importing indices like the DAX and Nikkei over energy-heavy counterparts, as long as the Middle East ceasefire holds. You must also exercise extreme caution on any long euro or British pound positions. You do not want to fight a structurally dominant dollar ahead of a major inflation read. To hedge the downside risk, treat gold and silver not as an inflation play, but strictly as insurance, just in case the fragile Middle East truce breaks down over the weekend. For day traders executing tactically, the absolute rule is to reduce your position size or dramatically widen your stops immediately surrounding the 1330 Thursday data cluster to survive algorithmic whipsaws. Leading into that print, the safest strategy is isolating specific idiosyncratic events, like Wednesday night's Micron earnings, to trade the Nasdaq or Nikkei follow-through away from broad index volatility. Professional execution this week doesn't rely on guessing the exact decimal of the Thursday inflation print. It relies entirely on architecting a portfolio that captures current geopolitical tailwinds while structurally surviving the impending monetary crossfire.
If you enjoyed that video, then the 7-page report would be even better. Contact me and I will get you on the list for next Sunday. Cheers guys, don't forget, like and subscribe.